Now, it's time to meet the players of college sports today and get this show started. He's a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback, a first-round NFL draft choice, and a member of the College Football Hall of Fame as both a player and coach. He is the head ball coach, Steve Spurrier. He's a rare two-time SEC Player of the Year and spent over a decade in the NFL. Ladies and gentlemen, Shane Matthews. And presenting the host of the show, with over 25 years of sports broadcasting experience, Terry Norvell. Coming to you from the College Sports Today studio, it's time for College Sports Today with Spurrier, Matthews, and Norvell.
Welcome into a brand new week, College Sports Today. Terry Norvell here and the head ball coach, Steve Spurrier. Shane Matthews out on business. I believe he's in my neck of the woods in Jacksonville, Coach. But, man, a lot of stuff happened late in the week. I know you had a weekend trip. I want to catch you up on everything, but I want to get your opinion on all the stuff, including Oklahoma, Texas, probably to the SEC. But you had a busy weekend, a nice induction ceremony in the state of South Carolina. Talk about it.
Yeah, I really did, Terry. South Carolina Football Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Just all football guys are in this one. Up in Greenville, South Carolina. And I got my quarterback, the winningest quarterback in school history up there, Connor Shaw,
Sure.
To introduce me. So he did a super job with that. And then they had four other inductees. The other coach was Art Baker, who coached at Furman and Citadel for a while. And and all the guys were South Carolina guys.
Gotcha.
Charlie Flowers, who played for the Dallas Cowboys, he came back and said some wonderful things about his school and so forth. And then Willie Scott, a defensive end that played at South Carolina, he actually passed away earlier this year, so his wife and kids were there. And Robert Porsche,
sure.
the defensive end for Detroit Lions, played about 13 years in NFL.
Good player.
So that was it. And I was sort of the only non-South Carolina dude there. I said, I feel a little out of place, but I guess I did coach a bunch of years there at South Carolina. And so it was neat to have Connor Shaw there, and it was a good crowd, and they did a nice job with the Hall of Fame induction.
I keep asking you, and you keep telling me you're going to sit down one day and add up how many Hall of Fames are you in? Is Steve Spurrier in? A guesstimate? How many do you think you're in?
Oh.
And it starts back in high school, I guess, right?
Well, I'm in my high school Hall of Fame, and my East Tennessee Hall of Fame, and the State of Tennessee Hall of Fame, and I don't know.
A bunch of them.
All the bowl games, they have their little Hall of Fame thing also.
Florida, Georgia Hall of Fame you're in.
And last one was the Gator Bowl.
Gator Bowl.
I was able to go in when Indiana played Tennessee.
Oh, yeah.
Was that
a
year and a half ago?
Yeah.
So
you did the coin toss and all, I think, at that game. And
well, we were introduced out there
Yeah.
and so forth. Coach Sticky was there. And
so a bunch of Hall of Fames.
Yeah, I got a bunch. I don't know how many, but a bunch. And they're always nice, always an honor and privilege to go into those Hall of Fames.
I've also asked you, Coach, and you said a bunch as well. You've been honored with keys to the city a bunch, too. A lot of keys. A lot of keys to the city.
Yeah, I don't know how much they still do those kind of things, but I think I counted those up. I had about 18.
18 keys to the city.
I got 2 from Johnson City somehow. They forgot they gave me one.
They changed the locks, Coach.
About 10 years later, they gave me another. Okay.
Don't tell them.
Yeah.
Don't tell them.
Okay.
Want to say hi to Andrew. He says, go Gators. A couple people jumping on. I want to get to some topics, Coach, but I want to pass along my brother, Randy Norvell. He's got a neighbor that just passed away not long ago, and I wanted to point out 94 years young, Pauline LaRue, a good Gator, my brother's neighbor, and she passed away at 94 years young, Coach. I just wanted to say hi and pass that along. A good Gator at 94.
She has seen it all. If she has gone 94 years, that is amazing. And
she referenced a bunch of Steve Spurrier games.
Oh, really? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
She
I
loved her
hope
some
so,
Steve Spurrier.
Because we joined the SEC in 1933.
Yeah.
So she was right there watching the Gators as we sort of clawed our way around the SEC, getting beat by almost everybody. But we did have that 1928 team.
How about that?
I don't know how many Gators know about that team, but we were undefeated, 8-0, and went to Knoxville, and I think lost the game 13-12. If we'd have won that game, we'd have gone and played Southern Cal for the national championship in 1928. And I don't know what happened to all those great players, because it was a really good team. But 1929 and 30, we were back to mediocrity.
I read a little bit on that game, and help me out if I've got it mixed up. That 28 game, and the word was it Tennessee, right? The word was Tennessee might have watered that field down. Them fast Gators rolled up in there in the 20s, and they might have watered that, made it a muddy track, Coach.
Yeah, I've heard that rumor. It was obviously a gray, overcast, rainy day up there. Yeah. And supposedly we had a lot of speed back then. We had some fast guys, and they thought, I don't know if they did or not, but we'd have to ask somebody who was there that day how the field was.
There you have it. Coach, you just referenced, you segued right into our first major topic while we have you here today on a Monday edition. Way back when the SEC was getting formed, and they've had a few teams drop out, Swanee and Georgia Tech. But the big news, Coach, late in the week, and you weren't here on Friday, you were traveling. It appears it's a done deal. They're dotting the I's and crossing the T's. The SEC will be the first major conference for the new alignment. There's going to be new realignment. Oklahoma and Texas, it sounds like, are all but in the SEC. Thoughts on that when you first started hearing that?
My thoughts at first were somebody was just starting a rumor in the middle of SEC Media Day to get some attention.
Yes.
But obviously it was a lot more than that. And I can see Texas maybe wanting to join the SEC because they haven't won a Big 12 in
it's been a while.
I think Mack Brown won 2 in 16 years, and they haven't won one since.
It's been a while.
So they can't win the Big 12 anyway.
Yeah.
So why not join the SEC and start playing Texas A&M every year, which they should have never quit doing that.
Absolutely.
That would have been like us not playing FSU anymore because we're not in the same conference. Or South Carolina quit playing Clemson every year. Well, they just quit playing each other, which I thought was a terrible idea, but out there I guess they were all happy about it. It doesn't make sense, though. So I can see Texas maybe wanting to jump out because they can't win the Big 12. But OU wins the Big 12 almost every year. I mean almost every year. So guess what, OU? If you go to the SEC, those conference championships, they're going to take a little blank spot. I'm not saying you can't win it, but you are not going to win it at the pace they've been winning that Big 12 every year.
So you think
I don't think it's smart for OU, Texas. Because they get to play A&M again.
The almighty dollar? You think that's OU's bottom line, the almighty dollar?
Well, that's what some of the radio guys said. Money's the only reason I can figure it out. But another reason I don't like it, it just hurts all the other members of the conference. Iowa State and those guys, Kansas State, Kansas, and all the other members of the Big 12 conference. Some people think the Big 12 may just dissolve. It just may go away. So it hurts those guys. And I'm sort of a guy that you got to have somebody to play and somebody to beat. I heard a coach one time say, now, wait a minute, you got to look out for your opponents occasionally, too. If they go away, they're no good. Well, who are going to beat? So you got to have somebody to beat. Pepper Riders used to always say that. You look out for your enemies a little bit because if you don't have anybody to go beat, you're not going to be very good. So I just think for OU it's not a good idea.
This is the first big movement that I saw it coming. I think most people, within the last 5 years or so, I've been saying there's going to be one more big bang, one more realignment. And then I don't think, Coach, once this dust settles, there's going to be more moves. By the way, the Big Ten's going to do something. The Big Ten's not going to sit around. They're working right now on something big. They are the only conference that is as big and as bad and as tough and as deep and rich as the SEC. But, Coach, this is going to be the last go-around, I think, for a long time. So these conferences better get squared away, and you better find a dance partner for the prom because I don't think we'll have movement if you get left out. Now, Coach, there's some talk, there's just rumor mills that the SEC may not be done at adding to. There's some people that think they may go, 18 or 20 or 20. There's some rumors out there that the SEC may be looking to do a big, big, big thing, knowing that you're not going to move again in 25 years probably. There's not going to be a lot of movement. What would you think of that? The SEC goes 20. I mean, that's crazy.
Well, football, I mean, one thing I used to like about the Big 12, they all play each other,
So
they They had those 11 games there and then one other game. So you had a true champion.
Yeah.
But, I hope it doesn't go like that. And I'm still a believer in being in a conference in your area. Like West Virginia, they got no business being
way
in
over
the Big
there,
12. Maybe the ACC will pick those guys up and so forth. But yet Notre Dame, they belong in the Big Ten, but they may join the ACC.
And they're the big ones sitting out there. I'll guarantee you the Big Ten is going to at least try. I think they're going to have a big splash. But they're trying right now. The biggest potential splash out there, and the Big Ten has sat Notre Dame down and said, here's a blank check. That's the biggest fish out there that the Big Ten could pull, right, to counterbalance the SEC.
Well, somebody said if you want Notre Dame to join a conference, the Big Ten, those other guys got to just quit playing them. Say, we're not going to play you unless you join the Big Ten, which is, Big 14 now? How many teams?
Yeah, they've got 14 in it, but they're still the Big Ten.
So if Notre Dame doesn't have anybody to play, they got to go join a conference. Or else they're not going to join one. Because they think it's their right to be different from everybody else.
Sure.
It's their tradition, and they can and we all agree. I remember one time I asked Commissioner Slive, I said, when you guys all sit there, and the athletic director from Notre Dame, he is the same as the commissioners. He's got as much power as all you commissioners.
And he's the AD.
Why do y'all allow Notre Dame to do that?
Yeah.
You know what he said? I don't know. I said, well, I don't know either. So, but that's the way they do it. And Notre Dame will continue being independent as long as they are considered their own conference.
Along those same lines, I've defended Notre Dame along the same lines you just said. If you're Notre Dame, you can't blame Notre Dame.
No,
college football lets them do it.
They let them do it.
Yeah.
They got their own TV network, NBC.
Yeah.
Somebody said, well, wouldn't they make more money joining the conference? Oh, no, they got their own conference. They've got NBC.
The NBC, that's their own conference.
Televises all their games.
Yeah. Coach, awkward situation. Now, it looks like that the Oklahoma-Texas stuff is all but done, and they will jump into the conference, the word is, in 2022, next year. Next year. So what a sad situation. It looks like Oklahoma and Texas will be lame duck members one more year in the Big 12, and Oklahoma's probably going to win it. Yeah. How sad is that to be the big boy that's leaving your conference, and they're probably going to hoist that trophy at the end of the year as a lame duck. Boy, that's tough. That is tough for that Big 12.
Well, they'll play their conference schedule this year on cue, and if they leave after that, they just leave. But they'll have a good go at it this year.
Yeah,
should be exciting. Of course, Texas got a new coach, Sarkisian, and we'll see what he can do. The ball players are there. I think they've got decent players at Texas. Yeah. If they can get a change of attitude and believe that they're just as good as Oklahoma, and they probably are, because they easily could have won that. Was it a 3 or 4 overtime game last year? 4 overtime.
Crazy game.
Yeah, so, that was a coin flip. Texas is good enough to win the Big 12, no question about it. Now, whether or not they do, got to go play and find out.
From the SEC's point of view, looking ahead a little bit, if, as we all expect, Oklahoma and Texas come in and the SEC expands to 16 teams starting next year, we're a couple of years away from that 12-team playoff. If the SEC has got 16 teams and 12 make the playoffs, the SEC, it's a little bit of an insurance policy. The SEC, I know they're thinking, Commissioner Sankey is thinking, we're going to get 4, maybe 5 of those 12 spots. Yeah. You think about it. If the SEC turns into this mega conference, if you go, say, 8-3, you have 3 losses, and they're to 3 big boys, you're probably going to get that 11th or 12th seed. So the SEC is looking at this thing as an insurance policy. I think we're going to get 4 or 5 teams in the big dance.
Yeah.
Football.
Easily could. And, sometimes you got to realize that the team that wins the conference does not necessarily win the national championship. And sometimes the team that was second or third, for an example, baseball this year, Arkansas, I think, won regular season.
They were dominant.
And I think they won the tournament, too.
Yeah, they were dominant.
And then the playoffs start, and they got beat. And here comes Mississippi State. Yeah. That finished, below them in the regular season. But that's the nature of playoffs in sports. one of the teams is pretty good, but he may go all the way, just like Tampa Bay Bucks this year.
Yeah.
I don't even think they won their division, did they? Because they had to go on the road.
I don't think so. Yeah, they went on the
were
road.
on the road for every playoff game, but they got better and better and won the Super Bowl.
One thing that's going to happen, and if the SEC realigns and Oklahoma and Texas come in next year, which is the word, that's the word now, they're going to come in. One thing that's going to have to happen, the fans got to get used to this, all the schedules have to get reworked. You're going to have some of that quirkiness where next year, if those two teams come in, Coach, there's going to be some of that. Unfortunately, one team's going to have to go to another team's ballpark probably 2 years in a row. It just kind of works out that way. You got so many games, so the fans better be prepared. I'll just pick something out. South Carolina may be going to Georgia 2 years in a row, or Florida. It just works out that way. But they're going to have to squeeze in, take out all the schedules because you got to bring two new teams in.
That's true.
It'll be interesting. Coach, last week you were out on Friday. Shane was in, and you were traveling to that Hall of Fame induction. Shane made a good point. We got talking about some of the news that came out of Hoover, including Coach Saban at Alabama, made a reference, and we all think it was calculated, that his presumed starting quarterback, Bryce Young, who's only played a little bit, he should be the starter. Coach Saban, quote unquote, let it slip that with regard to the NIL, he's near seven figures in a deal or deals. Near seven figures, okay? I think that was calculated by Saban. But Shane made the point, and I went ahead and got a graphic, and Evan, we might pull that up here in a second with all the Alabama coaching. Shane said, well, if Bryce Young, the Alabama presumed starting quarterback, if he does bring in close to $1 million in NIL money, he will be like the fourth highest paid coach. he'll be higher than everybody. Saban makes $9.3 million. This is this year's. Bill O'Brien, former, and there you see it, former head NFL coach, is his. He'll make 1-1 this year. The D coordinator, Pete Golding, will make 1-5. Doug Marrone, former NFL head coach, who's the O-line coach, will make $755. If Bryce Young comes in at $1 million, he's making more money than 8 or 9 assistant coaches, Coach Spurrier.
Well, his name's bigger than
I guess so, Coach.
Yeah. Nobody knows who the O-line.
Thank you, Evan.
The O-line coach at any school in the country.
Agreed.
Sometimes they know the coordinators, but the assistant coaches are pretty quiet names down through there. So if Bryce Young is as good as they think he's going to be, then people will want to see him advertising products. Yeah.
But what about the dynamic?
Not the assistant coaches.
What about the dynamic of a player who, by the way, hasn't taken a snap, might make more than 6 of your assistant coaches?
Well, Terry, it's just like the NFL.
Yes, I guess
the quarterback makes all the money, most of them.
So
It's just the way life is. You go play the game, and you try not to worry about who makes what.
Yeah. I tell you, it's things are changing.
Yeah.
Things are definitely changing. I wanted to throw this out. Today, Coach, I'll do the countdown. We are 33 days from the start of college football season. The first Saturday is actually August 28th, and there's a couple games. There's about 6 or 7 games. Nebraska-Illinois is the marquee game. It's a Big Ten game. But 33 days. How about this, Coach? As we sit right here, right now, the first NFL preseason game, that Hall of Fame game is always first, 10 days away. Football season's here. 10 days away, the NFL boys. The Steelers and the Cowboys, they're already opened up camp because they go early. We're 10 days away from that Canton game. Is that crazy? Yeah. We're here.
Yeah, football season's here, and I'll make a little special plea to the Gators out there.
Okay.
Get vaccinated.
Okay.
So we can pack the swamp and not have to worry about showing cards, or I don't know how they're going to do it this year all around, but as we know, that Delta virus variant is spreading like wildfire, and especially in Florida. I saw on the paper today, state of Florida is got more cases than anybody, or so forth. Gosh, get vaccinated, do your part, and if we do that, maybe we can make sure we have this football season. But if that COVID starts spreading like wildfire, I mean, there's a chance it may have to close up again.
Yeah. Coach, before we get to another topic or two, it just doesn't, the Olympics haven't interested me in 3 decades since the amateurism. It just doesn't do it. Not many people are watching. Are you following much of the Olympics?
I watched a little bit last night.
What'd you think?
Yeah. Well, I felt sorry for the one gymnast girl that actually performed probably a little bit better than Simone Biles did.
Is that right?
But didn't
get the score?
Didn't get the scores. Only 2 could have made it. If 3 could have made it, it would have been a lot more realistic. But anyway, I mean, obviously, Simone Biles is the best of all time, and she's going to be there. So anyway, but it was interesting watching it all.
Yeah, boy, not many people watching, and the word is, I'm not laughing, but the word is there's this terrible storm heading that way. Did you hear? There's some big storm in the ocean out there heading toward Japan.
Is that right?
Yeah, big storm, and they've had obviously a lot of issues. Obviously, the cancellation, the push it back, and
do they call him a cyclone or hurricane?
I think it's a. Evan, is it a tsunami, or it might be a tsunami, or something may be brewing that might turn into a big...
tsunami's when the big waves
Yeah,
come.
okay, yeah, it's maybe a cyclone.
Cyclone,
I think it's a cyclone.
on that side of the country.
Yeah, typhoon?
Typhoon.
Typhoon's heading that way.
There you go.
A potential typhoon is heading that way. And the word is, you've watched, I haven't, the word is it's been swelteringly hot and humid.
Yeah.
A lot of the tennis players and runners were complaining.
Yeah, it's the whole world's heating up, of course,
Yeah,
but they've had extreme heat, just like the western part of our country, and all those fires out there.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're making much progress putting them out or not, but yeah, we need some cold air and rain.
Yeah, it is. It's tough in some parts. Real tough. I wanted to go over that though. 33 days until start of college football season. 10 until the NFL. Going back though, Coach, the Big Ten is going to do something. They are not going, and they're going to do something sooner than later. You're going to hear something. Are there enough big splashes? But the Big Ten is not going to sit around and let the SEC distance themselves. And then, Coach, a million rumors. Big 12, what they have left, do they talk to the Pac-12 and say, hey, is there a merger? There's still some talk that some ACC schools may get plucked. The ACC is nervous right now. I mean, there's been some talk about Clemson. I think the big school, and Coach, give me your opinion. Overall, the big fish in the ACC, I think, is North Carolina. They're a big-time institution of education. I think the ACC right now is really leery of people picking off some of their teams. And what do they do? And what do they do? You know?
No question about it.
But Notre Dame is a key too. If somebody can reel in Notre Dame full time, ACC or Big Ten, they're happy as a clam. Either one of those.
Well, here's another maybe suggestion. If the Big 12 wants to survive, maybe they can go back and say, hey, Nebraska, you guys used to be winners when you were in the Big 8 and now the Big 12, and now you're just a bunch of average dudes up there in that Big 10. In fact, they've had losing records, I think, about the last 5 years. Said, why don't y'all come on back to the Big 8, Big 12, whatever, and they might could get Iowa to join them because that's right there, in Big 12 territory. So if they lose a couple, maybe they can pick a couple off.
That's a good idea.
Nebraska, we get more money coming out of the Big 10 than Big 12, but they don't care. They got plenty of money. They're boosters, alumni. They're tired of losing.
Yeah.
And so if they had a chance to go back being champions and winners, they may jump at it.
There has been a little, I've seen a little bit of that. Hey, Nebraska could think about going back and being the big dog, or trying to be the big dog. In their conference. Have you followed, this will be the last topic, we'll get Coach Spurrier out of here on Monday. There have been a lot of different rumors, I don't know what to believe, of how Texas A&M has accepted or is trying to accept Texas along with Oklahoma coming over. Some people say it's just rumor. Some people say it's true that A&M is not happy. If I'm Texas A&M and I'm giving out the official statement from Texas A&M, the last thing I would act like is that I don't want Texas coming over, because A&M has tried to get rid of that little brother syndrome with Texas for 100 years. I hope Texas A&M is smarter than to publicly complain that they shouldn't let Texas in. We came to the SEC as the agreement. We're the only Texas school. Do you agree with what I said? If I'm A&M, I don't want to look like the little brother that's scared of Texas.
Oh, exactly. No, I would think Jimbo would say, yeah, bring them on in. We need to play them guys. I don't know what his attitude's been about playing them in prior before, but they should play each other. The last game of this season, just like all the other in-state rivals just about around the country. So yeah, I would think Jimbo would say, "Yeah, bring them on in. Let's play them."
Man, if I was the PR guy and the president, and the AD said, Terry, what should our public stance be? Us being Texas A&M about Texas coming into our conference, I'd say, hey, just what you said. Our stance should be, welcome Texas. We'll do anything we can do to help you into the big boy. This is the big boy conference. Come see if you can hit the big boy fastball, Texas. We've been in it 10 years, right? That would be my approach. So I don't look terrible, and because I think Texas A&M, if they look like we don't want them in, that could hurt you on the recruiting trail. I think that could hurt you in the booster trail, stuff like that. So, Coach, I'm gonna go ahead and get to the bottom of the hour here and let you get going, unless we're missing anything. I know it was a busy weekend, and we talked about your Hall of Fame. Anything we need to be looking forward to? Anything going on? Restaurants getting close?
Yeah, restaurant. Yeah, in fact, the athletic department is having their annual. Before the season get together at the restaurant tomorrow night, Tuesday night. Yeah. So looking forward to going out there and seeing all the support staff, a bunch of the coaches and wives and so forth to be there at the Gridiron Grill. So August 10, 11, official opening day. And we're having a whole bunch of dinners there this week.
Leading up to it?
Yeah, as we give a little practice to our servers and the people that work there. So a lot happening out at the Gridiron Grill.
I'm so looking forward. I've been over there a bunch and spent a lot of time. But you know what I'm looking forward to? And I hate to sound like it. I'm looking forward to getting in that beautiful restaurant. And I've been there a bunch and sitting down and just doing some ordering. I'm ready to order up some stuff.
Yeah, let me tell you this. Well, we're having 7 o'clock Wednesday out there. Sports writer Mike Griffith in Atlanta.
Sure, I know of him.
Called me 6 months, a year ago. And he said, I want to start a Coach of the Year award for the coach his first year at school.
Okay.
His first year at school. And he said, I want to name it after you. And you did pretty well your first year at the 3 colleges you went to. We actually won the SEC here. Didn't get recognized, but that 90 team won it. The South Carolina team did pretty good. Went to bowl game, beat Florida and Tennessee that year, the first year. And our Duke team, although we were 5 and 6, man, we lost some close games, and it was a good team. But anyway, I said I'd love to do that. And Chris Doring is involved in sponsoring. His mortgage company here in town is one of the sponsors. But we're having a Zoom call at 7 o'clock. Wednesday at the restaurant. I think Danny Warfel is going to be on the Zoom. Okay. And we're trying to get my man Connor Shaw, South Carolina QB, on there. And I think Chris Doring will be on also. So that's 7 o'clock Wednesday night, just sort of getting the word out. And this sports writer, Mike Griffith, is the one who's sort of spearheading all the media stuff regarding this.
You'll give the award out at the end of this season for the first time. And what's the qualification?
We hope to give it out in Orlando.
What's the qualification again now? It's first year at your school.
Yeah.
At a school.
Yeah. Coach of the year, your first year. That's the only guys eligible.
Division I, or are they going to recognize?
Oh, I'm not sure if we're going to limit
well, they may do a
Division
few.
I. But in the SEC, I think we've got 4 guys eligible.
Yeah, sure.
South Carolina, Auburn.
Vandy's a new guy.
Got a guy.
Yeah, we're missing one. But yeah, there's
one other out there somewhere.
So all first year at their school.
First year at your school.
They could already be they could have been a head coach before.
Just first year at your school.
Yeah, well, that's pretty neat. Yeah. That is pretty neat. And it's going to be called the
Steve got my name on it.
Yeah, Steve Spurrier.
Spurrier First Year Award or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I tell you what, always.
That was nice.
I tell you a thing used to drive me crazy is these coaches, when they take over, and most of them don't do this, but a few of them, that fans probably know who they were, come in and say, you know, there's a lot of rebuilding to do here. It's going to take 2 or 3 years to get this thing going. You know, be patient with us, blah, blah, blah. Wait till we get our players in here. You ever heard that?
Yes,
BS?
I have.
Oh,
yeah.
You talk about a bunch of BS some coaches
But
can
your
throw
existing
out.
players are hearing all that.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
I mean, I don't want to refer to any of our in-state schools lately up north of us, but the one, not Norvell, but the guy before, oh, my goodness. They all, you know, wait till we get our play. I hate that statement. I always used to say, we got 11 and the other guys got 11. And we're going to try to get our guys ready to beat your guys. And if you line up all your excuses, you got no chance.
Well, you've always been big on...
We want that coach to be the coach of the year that eliminates all the excuses and gets his guys ready to play.
Like it. I like it. All right.
I think it's a good award. I do. I say I like that award because it shows coaches that wanted to do it that first year.
Yeah.
Not just, well, I got a 5-year contract. Maybe I want to wait and when my contract's up, all that.
Yeah.
So anyway, first year award. I love it.
That sounds like a winner. Sounds like a winner. Coach, good stuff. We appreciate it. And when we visit again, we'll be closer to the Spurrier's Gridiron Grill getting open.
Yeah, pretty soon.
Yes,
Yeah,
pretty soon.
All
That's
right.
Coach Steve Spurrier. We'll get out of here, come back. Second half of the show, all the other topics. Stay with us here on College Sports Today.
Bleed and Louis! The good vibes! What? All the good vibes we've had, we'll have again. Good vibes! All the good vibes we've had, we'll have again. All the good vibes we've had, we'll have again. All the good vibes we've had, we'll have again.
Taste the islands and every drop of Vida de Luis tequila. 100% blue agave from Tequila, Mexico. Good
All the
vibes.
good vibes we've had, we'll have again. All the good vibes we've had, we'll have again.
Me and my boy Matt had it good. He had catnip that was off the hook. But one day, he brings a girl home, and she's allergic to cats. Every sneeze was a nail in my coffin. Now I'm in a shelter. It's decent, but they don't even have Wi-Fi. Hey, look, it's those guys. Are you good to drive?
I'm fine.
How many did you have?
I should be fine.
You should be.
Go and step out of the vehicle for me.
See ya, buddy. Good luck. So turns out, buzz driving and drunk driving, they're the same thing, and it costs around $10,000. So not worth it.
I don't remember how it started.
Go to that.
Our back and forth. It always came back.
Dad!
You probably don't remember what you told me,
That was perfect.
but I heard every word.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your closet. Still no jobs? Just more stuff? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed. And they're the stuff inside your stuff. Our job is to unlock those jobs. And it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover keytar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs.
Good stuff, as always, from Coach Steve Spurrier, the head ball coach. He's on about his business here on a Monday. We were able to corral him for about 30 minutes. Can't make the show happen at all without sponsors that help us out. We thank all of our contributing sponsors. We got a bunch of great seafood restaurants up and down the northeast coast here of the state of Florida. Safe Harbor Seafood, Mayport, you know that long-standing location. Safe Harbor Seafood, Crescent Beach, the newest location of Safe Harbor. And, of course, my hangout in Neptune Beach. Man, I love Sliders Oyster Bar. Great indoor, outdoor dining. Oyster bar, of course, raw oysters. They will shuck them as fast as you can eat them. Great, great seafood options. Safe Harbor Seafood, the two locations, and, of course, Sliders Oyster Bar. I want to thank JB Coxwell Contracting, one of our new sponsors, one of the best contracting companies in the Northeast Florida area. Check out what they can do for you with your next project, handling all the underground work, and check out everything they do at JB Coxwell Contracting. And we just thank everybody that makes our show happen, including Vida de Louis. You saw their commercial a moment ago. The official tequila right here on College Sports Today. Yes, it is carried all over the state of Florida at your favorite bar or restaurant. Ask for it by name, Vida de Louis Tequila. And yes, you can get Vida de Louis Tequila inside Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. I cannot wait to order my first margarita at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill with some of that good Vida de Louis tequila inside it. A couple more topics we want to hit here on a Monday. By the way, if you'd like to advertise on the show, always just reach out to me. All the Facebook platforms at any time. Drop me a direct message, or you see the email there, tnsportsjacks@yahoo.com. This is the time to get on this show. We are heading into college football season. The next 6 months are crazy, but we can get your commercial, your logo, your advertisements right here and be associated with College Sports Today. Coach Steve Spurrier, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. You know, we'll start broadcasting the show live from inside the restaurant here in a few weeks. There's a broadcast podcast room, and we will be sitting live inside Spurrier's Gridiron Grill very soon, broadcasting College Sports Today. Also want to shout out a quick moment here to everybody that follows the show via the podcast. We are on the 15 leading podcast platforms. We appreciate anybody that consumes our show, however you consume it. You podcasters, at times you may want to jump on and follow the show as a TV show, basically on Facebook Live under College Sports Today. Just go to Facebook and follow us. Same with YouTube. I got some people talking about the realignment. It is not over. It is just beginning. We're going to have a good solid year or more, at least a year of major realignment. I think you're going to hear some more big news coming out of college sports realignment here in the next week or two. The Big Ten is going to do something. Some talk on the Facebook Live comments. Iowa State may be a team on the move. You know, I want to go back to the SEC. Certainly, the Oklahoma-Texas stuff is going to happen. It's imminent, it sounds like. So the SEC is about to expand to 16. There's talk, and I've heard some reputable people, and I've read some reputable reporters that say the SEC may not be done. The SEC I would go grab right now if I took it to 20. And Clemson wouldn't be one of them. Nothing against Clemson, but everybody throws the Tigers out there. I don't know how attractive they are as a whole. Clemson, let me say it again. I don't know how attractive as a whole Clemson is. Their football's real good right now. They don't bring a whole lot else to the table when you compare them to other entire programs. You've got to look at the entire program. If the SEC came to Terry Norvell and said, Terry, we're up to 16, counting Oklahoma and Texas. We want to go to 20. And Terry, digest, figure out, and give us your suggestion. And I would factor in a lot of stuff, including footprint, including geography, including sports and where they're at, including deep pockets, boosters, things like that. And attainability, okay? Attainability. I wouldn't say Notre Dame if I'm being asked by the SEC, Terry, who would you bring in addition to Oklahoma and Texas? Because I don't think they're attainable. Attainable. You've heard, there's even been wild talk that the SEC, wild talk maybe be talking to Ohio State and Michigan. Now, I'm going to throw out 4 that I think are attainable, okay? And here are my 4. If the SEC came to me and said, Terry, we want to go up to 20, we need 4 more, I would suggest going straight to the ACC, and I wouldn't get Clemson. They wouldn't be one of my 4 for some of the reasons I just mentioned. My 4 to take it to 20 for a bunch of reasons would be the bell cow of the ACC. You can say what you want. The shining jewel in the ACC is North Carolina. I would grab North Carolina. I would grab Georgia Tech. I would grab Florida State, and I would grab Miami. Those are my 4. If the SEC said, Terry, we're hiring your firm to go get us the final 4 that fit all the criteria, the majority of the criteria, and they're attainable. Again, Notre Dame, Ohio State, Michigan, okay, I don't think they're attainable. Those would be the 4 I would grab. And I think North Carolina is, think about it, North Carolina is the big linchpin in the ACC. They're the big, strong, deep money, tradition, they're the big one. Georgia Tech, there's a lot to like about Georgia Tech. And I get the whole, well, wait a minute, they don't get great athletes. They'll get athletes. The student part of student athlete is going away by the second. Georgia Tech, North Carolina, FSU, Miami would be my additional 4 if I had to add, and I was charged with adding to the SEC. Another topic I want to hit before we get out of here on a Monday edition, College Sports Today. And real quick, I want to say hey to my buddy David Hess. A couple other people that have jumped on with some questions and comments. I appreciate you, David, for watching. What's up? They want to know where I'm at. I thought you were talking about hurricanes as in Miami Hurricanes. No, they want to know when I'm getting to hurricanes. A little inside stuff. Another topic I wanted to get out today on the program, I totally agree with Dabo Swinney, the Clemson football coach. He came out last week at ACC Media Days, and among the topics he was asked about and he commented on, Dabo Swinney says with the 12-team playoff coming, that the thing to do is to shorten the regular season by 1 game from 12 to 11. I totally agree with him. I totally agree that needs to happen. 12-game playoff, you're adding 11 more games. I totally agree. Now, the argument against knocking out a game, and why you have to knock out a game, is the calendar. The calendar is going to force you to do a couple things. The college football calendar, when you go to 12-team playoff, the regular season will have to get bumped up 1 week. Right now, the traditional full opening of college football is the Labor Day week and weekend. That's going to have to get moved up. College football, when it goes to 12 teams, because you don't want the season lasting 16, 18 weeks and games. You don't want it to be 15, 16, 17 games. They're going to have to, A, lop off 1 game from the regular season, go from 12 to 11. How do they compensate? The first thing the schools are going to do is scream bloody murder. We're losing money. What about the payday? Here's how you compensate. When this college football expands to 12 teams, that's going to bring in $1 billion a year. $1 billion a year. That's $1 billion a year. You take, and you know what's going to happen. We're breaking off. The big boys of the super conferences are breaking away. That'll happen within a year or 2, max. The big 65 or so schools, you will take that $1 billion windfall. That's new money because you've expanded the playoff. You then will give all 65, just hand them individual checks for $1 million. So every year, $65 million of that additional $1 billion that's going to come in, you are paying those schools for losing a game. Everybody's happy. There's plenty of money there. That allows you to back up the regular season. It has to start. College football will have to starting the final Saturday in August. For example, to have enough Saturdays to get your 11-game regular season in 12 weeks. For example, if that was the case this year, the college football season would start for everybody, not the selected 6 or 7 games, but for everybody, Saturday, August 28th, okay? If this was in place. Count the Saturdays from August 28th through the 3rd Saturday of November. That's 13 Saturdays. You can get your 11-game regular season in 12 with everybody getting a bye week. That 3rd Saturday could be your conference championship games. The following Saturday, which is Thanksgiving weekend Saturday, your 12-team playoff can start. Okay? 12-team playoff, you've got 11 games. You still save your college conference championship game. You start your new playoff with 12 teams on Thanksgiving weekend. Your 4 top seeds have a bye. The other 8 play. You play a couple of rounds that final Saturday in November, the first Saturday in December. You've got 2 of your rounds out of the way. And you've lopped it down. You're down to your final 4. You can take 2 or 3 weeks off. Let the finals happen. Let Christmas happen. Then you can play 2 more games, your semifinals, after Christmas, near New Year's Eve. And then first Saturday, first Monday in January. But to do that, you've got to, do 2 things. To squeeze all, you only have so many Saturdays. You only have so many Saturdays. To do that, you have to do 2 major things. The college football season must get moved up to the final Saturday in August. Hands down, that is the absolute 100% start of college football season every year. Not selected games, every game. Second, you have to lop off one regular season game. You got to go from 12 to 11. Add a Saturday, you can get it all in. Dabo Sweeney is absolutely correct, and money will not be a factor because of the incredible windfall going from a 4-team football playoff to a 12-team football playoff. The incredible, incredible windfall that will come your way. That's what's going to happen. It has to happen. A couple quick things as we wrap up and get out of here on a Monday. Some real strange lame duck situations are out there now. I talked with Coach Spurrier for a moment before he got out of here. Think about the awkward lame duck situation. Oklahoma and Texas are in the Big 12 this year. They will play the entire Big 12. Most likely one of them, if not both of them, they will get to the championship game. At least one of them is going to get to the championship game. How awkward. You're the lame duck. Everybody knows Oklahoma and Texas are the big boys in the Big 12. Everybody knows, and I think the announcement will come today, that they're petitioning the SEC. Oklahoma is the odds-on favorite to plow through that conference and win their conference championship game as a lame duck. Awkward. The contract states that Oklahoma and Texas, or anybody that got out, would have to stay in through, I think it's 2024. The last thing the Big 12 wants is Oklahoma and Texas for 3 years as lame duck members. That looks terrible because, among a number of reasons, one of those schools is probably going to win their conference the next 3 years. That would be terrible. Another awkward lame duck situation. Remember, CBS still has the SEC. How about CBS, unless they get bought out or buy themselves out, ask for a buyout with the SEC? Remember, ESPN won the SEC football contract. That kicks in a couple of years, unless there's a buyout, and there very well could be. But how about CBS? At least for this year, it's going to be real awkward. Here's CBS knowing that they will not be broadcasting SEC football beyond the next few years, maybe even this next year, excuse me. CBS can't ignore the fact that Oklahoma and Texas are coming into what will be the mega SEC. How about CBS? They've got to spend at least 1 year talking about and promoting the biggest and baddest college football conference in the world coming up, and they won't be broadcasting them soon. Wouldn't you hate to do that if you're the network that did not have Seinfeld, but you had to promote Seinfeld on another network? Oh, there's some awkwardness going to happen here in college sports and college football in particular. You know, we haven't even talked about, all we talk about is NIL football. Remember, it's going to have an impact in basketball as well. Basketball is the second most visible sport. We haven't even talked, it's not basketball season, I get it, but we haven't even talked about the implications of, does the starting point guard for Duke always walk into a $500,000 deal? Interesting. Times are a-changing. I say it all the time. For the good or the bad, I don't know, but times are a-changing. Speaking of time for us to get out of here, I want to say hi to my buddy Barry Thomas, who jumped on board here and had some nice comments. Again, I want to thank Coach Steve Spurrier. He was in half the show today off about business. He's got a lot going on. Shane Matthews traveling on business. He'll be back later in the week on Friday, the next edition of College Sports Today. I want to thank, of course, Evan Miller, our producer, who makes it happen every single show right here on College Sports Today. That'll wrap it up. We'll get together next Friday, or this coming Friday, for the next edition of College Sports Today.